Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Mike Allah. And I have just a short video that I want to play here concerning the recent earthquake in Venezuela. Also, it mentions about the earthquake that hit Japan and a city, and I can't remember the city right off the top of my head, north of San Francisco. So I'll be playing this short news clip under the 1976 Fair Use Act. This is not a monetized channel, so this is not in an effort to earn money. This is strictly for edification purposes only. And I'm going to bring out a few. I think I'll have about 3 verses that I wanted to bring out, and then that'll be the end of this. And that's Spirit moves me to keep going, bring out more lessons, or verses rather. But I'm going to go right ahead and play it. I may stop it midway through, but it's only about a minute and a half. So again, under fair use.
3 separate earthquakes in 3 countries today, including one here in the United States. The most recent, tonight off the coast of Venezuela. 2 back-to-back earthquakes, magnitude 7.2 and 7.5. They struck about 100 miles west of Caracas. This is video of search and rescue crews going through collapsed buildings there. People describe buildings swaying and walls collapsing. Some areas lost cell phone service, so calling for help or calling family members is difficult. Right now, the airport is closed, and at this point, no updates from the government on the number of injuries or fatalities. Another earthquake tonight struck Japan. This one had a magnitude of 6.9. A camera was rolling and shaking as that earthquake hit. It struck off the coast of Honshu, which is Japan's main island. There have been strong earthquakes recently in the area. There are no reports of any injuries or damage in Japan, and officials say there is no danger of a tsunami. And we have new video of an earthquake today in Northern California, the epicenter near the town of Willits, about 140 miles north of San Francisco. Thousands of people left without power, and authorities encouraged people to stay off the roads so emergency crews and workers could get by. There were reports of some people injured.
All right, so you can see there's 3 different earthquakes. Actually 4, because if you count in Venezuela, they had back-to-back earthquakes. I think they said about 40 seconds apart from one another. One being 7.2, the other one registering 7.5 in magnitude. And the last report that I heard, or like I said, this video that we just watched was about a day before. So at that time they were saying 188 deaths, but from what I've heard as of late, up to 235. And they said they're still searching through the rubble. All right, and then a 6.9 magnitude in Japan, and another one north of San Francisco. And they didn't really, I don't know, it might be an update now, but they didn't really say the magnitude in which that one hit. But this is no coincidence. These are tokens or signs being given by the Most High, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And let us know that the time is near for the day of the Lord. All right, so there's no such thing as coincidence. This is a definite sign of his coming, of his kingdom coming to an end. So this didn't happen, like I said, just by coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidences. It's all by design. I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras go to chapter 9. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. All right, so these are signs that are being given to us. All right, if you're paying attention and measuring the time by keeping track of the prophecies that have come to pass, all right, that have come to fruition. Verse 3 says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and you're seeing just that. You're seeing earthquakes, all right. You see two in this western hemisphere, and then you see one in the east. All right, those are signs for you. All right, like I said, there's no such thing as coincidence. So this is the Most High's design, because he's near to coming back to visit this place. All right, and judgment is going out. Now I don't know if they didn't mention any deaths in the one in earthquake in Japan or the earthquake in San Francisco, but a quake of 6.9 magnitude in Japan is a pretty high. All right, but and indeed it says it mentions earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and you're seeing uproars in the people also. All right, you're seeing uproars all over because there's wars, there's rumors of wars. You got, I know I've been talking about this a lot lately because it's to be watched. It's to be taken, take a close look at the wars that are going on, especially the one that's going on right now with Russia and Ukraine, because not only is this thing going in between Russia and the Ukraine, but it's also starting to spill over into the European Union. All right, they're beginning to be involved, because not only first of all, Putin understands and knows that this is not Ukraine just that has all these access to these weapons. All right, they're being helped, they're being aided, and the European Union is coming right out now and saying how they are preparing for war with Russia. So according to one of the officials that spoke on Putin's behalf, on Russia's behalf, he's saying that they're not playing around with this. If the European Union is readying themselves for war and wants to be involved and wants to keep supplying the Ukraine with weapons, missiles, drones, that they're gonna go ahead and take the gloves off. See, they think they're starting to believe their own hype that the Ukraine is winning this war. All right, that's just propaganda that's being put out by the mainstream media. Ukraine is not winning this war. All right, you got a whole generation that's been erased because the Russians have unalived so many of the troops from the Ukraine. All right, Russia is known for fighting wars of attrition. They go on and drag this thing out because they could, if they wanted to, they could really go ahead and wipe this thing out, but they're trying not to do it. There's a lot of things that they wanted to preserve in the various areas in the Ukraine. All right, they have a lot of people who want to be Russian citizens, and they're trying not to just go all out. All right, but they're saying now that the gloves are coming off. All right, and they've even gone so far as to mention the use of nuclear weapons. All right, which is a good thing, is what we want to hear, because we want this thing to escalate. We want this thing to continue on. All right, so with the talk of nuclear weapons possibly being used, we're praying that Putin brings those weapons out, that he go ahead and let those weapons fly, because as soon as he lets his fly, it's going to be others that's going to follow. Other countries are going to follow. All right. I'm going to go over to 1 Thessalonians also, because keeping up with the war that's going on with Iran and Israel, all right, and the United States. You keep hearing President Trump talking about they're still having negotiations, and last I heard him say was that Iran will do whatever he asks, and he keeps announcing how the Strait of Hormuz is open, and this is just a lie, because every time he says these things, the Iranians have to come right behind him and correct it and put out the real report, well, what's really going on. And negotiations are constantly breaking down, because even though it keeps looking like, and even at this last time, it looks like the President Trump was going to give in to a lot of the Iranians' demands. You know, a lot of his own cabinet was upset with him for him signaling or trying to show that he was going to go ahead and give in to a lot of their demands. But what people don't realize is that this agreement that they have come to is not a final agreement. It's I forget what they call it, MOU, I think, but it's just really a agreement to come to an agreement. So these things that are being put on the table by the Iranian officials are the same things that they've been asking for since the beginning, and the same things that the United States, or the President Trump, has no intent of agreeing to. All right. So every time they make these negotiations, it's just in an effort to keep oil prices down as much as possible. All right. And trying to keep Wall Street moving. All right. So he's really just coming out telling blatant lies. All right. So when you keep hearing about this peace deal and these negotiations coming in, there's just lies. All right. He finds a different way to tell the same lie that he's told probably close to 40 times already, and it always seems to keep Wall Street happy. I'm gonna go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3 says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." All right. So, like I'm saying, this is just to pacify Wall Street. This is just to try to keep the economy going as much as possible, because they know they've gotten to a point where this economy is going to be hurt. All right. They're saying if it's not resolved in the next week or so, that a recession is going to set in. All right. We're already seeing inflation. We're already seeing prices going up continuously. All right. It's like gas is fluctuating. It's not going down. All right. It'll stay the same for a while, and then it'll creep up a little bit. So you're seeing that what's written here in the scripture is coming into fruition. All right. As soon as they say peace and safety, that's when all hell's about to break loose, and that's what's about to happen, because you're about to see, and it might not be immediately in the United States, but you're seeing other countries in the eastern part of the world who are concerned. All right, concerned about people going hungry. All right, because fertilizer's not going out. You know, it's a lot of things that have to come through the Straits of Hormuz that are not coming through. So we're getting into that dangerous area right now. Like I said, in about a week, this is going to be the turning point of those straits. Because of them not being open, we're going to see a lot of countries being impacted. And I just have one more verse that I wanted to bring out, and then that'll be the end of this. I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24 verse 6 says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So don't be troubled by these things. In fact, when we hear about these wars, we hear the rumors of wars. We're seeing more participants jumping in the Ukrainian-Russian war. All right, these things must happen. These things must come to pass. And like I said, it's an exciting time to be alive, to be seeing these things come to pass, because we're seeing the prophecies come to life. All right, we're seeing them actually come out, and we're seeing the beginning of that third woe that's spoken of in the book of Revelation. It says, verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." And this is what we're seeing. All right, you're seeing these earthquakes. All right, we're going to begin to see famine that's going to be taking place, because even though they keep talking about peace, safety, and that these negotiations are working out, all right, it's just in an effort to try to keep this economy going as much, make it look good. So they want to get as close as they can to these elections also. But it's just about over. It says verse 8 says, "All these are the beginnings of sorrows." So we're in the beginning stages, all right, of Jacob's trouble. All right, we're even seeing how these SNAP benefits, these different welfare programs are even being ramped back up again, because they're putting different conditions on getting these receiving these benefits in different states. All right, and it's going to just branching out. I think Florida and California are probably the next two states where some of these laws are going to begin to change, where they change the requirements that you have to meet in order to be able to be eligible for these different programs. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, and I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. We'll give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakadesh. Shalom.